how did the writing process for With Guts and Glory differ from 2020's Death in Pieces?
But it didn't really differ in any special way. The thing was maybe that I wrote like basically all the tracks for the new album, and I had finished writing them already, like I don't know, like a year before we recorded the album. So the material was ready, and we had, actually we had plans to record it earlier than what we did, but due to different reasons, due to some shows and activities with our other bands and different kind of things. It took a while before we until we were able to enter the studio and start the recording. So maybe that was the difference compared to previous recordings. Because in the past, I think we have like finished the material and then started to record like quite soon after. But now it took a while. So maybe that's like the only like difference when it comes to that aspect. Then of course the material is slightly different than on the previous albums, but that's a different story.
Gotcha. And can you talk about the story behind the song, Your Religion Dies Tonight?
First of all, I haven't, I didn't write any lyrics for the album, so don't ask me about the lyrics. That's completely up to our vocalist who wrote all the lyrics, and I checked them before we started to record, but what the lyrics are about, that's something he should answer. But musically that track, it's a bit punk trash track, which somehow it defines the album in quite good way. So we decided to release that as the first single.
Nice. And for you, as writing the music, what song was the most challenging to finish during the recording?
None of them really. Of course, we worked a bit with. We worked with the vocal arrangements because the recording process was basically as it has been in the past. That when we rehearsed the tracks before the recording, we like never really rehearsed them with any vocals. So we do. The lyrics are basically almost always ready when we enter the studio, but then we do like the vocal arrangements in the studio, because for me it's like really important to have. If you have a good vocal arrangement on a track, it can make like wonders for the track. Because I think there are a bit too many like death metal bands who just like they have a track and then they have some lyrics and then they just throw them in there. But we really try to have like a work on the arrangement, and even like have a. If you listen like carefully, you can hear that there is almost like a melody or like an arrangement for the vocals. So, and that's usually quite hard to do in like in a rehearsal environment, in a rehearsal room where like everything is loud and noisy and everything. So it's easier to record the track first, and then you have the lyrics, and then you really try to make a good arrangement and even make some changes maybe in the lyrics, and like take away a few parts and add some parts and add some different change some words and stuff. So just to make like to get a good flow in the vocals. So that's that's like one thing. But it's really we have done like that for many albums. So that's like really nothing new for us. But that's a good way for us to work in the studio.
Now you have like a newer lineup. So how has the latest lineup shaped the creativity for this record?
Well, this lineup which we have now, we have had it since 2020, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, the previous album was recorded with this same lineup, but back then the lineup was like really new. I mean, the drummer uh, when we did the previous album, the drummer joined the band just like a few weeks prior to recording because we had a different drummer, but then like a couple of weeks before we started to record the album, we realized that it doesn't work out really. So we had to like in almost in panic check around for some other drummer, and luckily we knew this guy, so he joined the band and blah blah blah. But yeah, so back then for the previous album, the lineup was like really new basically. So that was a bit different. But then since then, I mean, during these years, we have made quite lot of shows and like uh, got to know each other better. So in that sense, it was easier this time to record with the steady lineup. Because I mean, a line if you have a, I mean, playing in a band is so much about. It's not only about the musical things; it's also about the like personal things, and yeah, you have to click. The personalities have to click, and everything has to work out. So it's an advantage that you can do some tours tours, and you can travel and you can spend the time together to get to know each other and on the both to get to know the good and bad sides. So that's usually an advantage to have a like some kind of like steady lineup when you record an album. Because also because we record when we record the albums, we record them basically live. We like do all the we record like the bass, the guitar, and the drums. Like we record them live, then we do some additional guitar, and then put on the vocals. So that's also of course good if you as a band play well together and know the good and bad sides of every person. So it makes things a bit easier.
Nice. So it was probably a little bit better this time around than the other albums since they didn't just join a few weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. So now it was more like a work, and we had like rehearsed and also, I mean, between these two albums, we have toured quite a lot. I played festivals and stuff, so we have been spending some time together, and I think that's always an advantage.
Now, this year marked the 20 years since World Declension. Now, looking back, how do you feel about that record today?
That album is it's like a completely different era of the band because I don't know, but or maybe you know that I mean I started the band in 1990, and then we kept on going up until 2006 when the Word Declension album was released, and then after that we took a break. I put the band on ice, so to say, and that break lasted from 2006 up until 2014. So then I made like then I started the band again with a new completely new lineup compared to the one which was on Word Declension. And then we have had a few lineup changes since then as well. But anyway, I mean, so in a way, Word Declension was that was like an end of one era of Centinex, and then what was it like 7-8 years later, the second era started, and Word Declension. I mean, if you musically, if you listen to Word Declension, you listen to that one, and then you compare it to this new album, then you can hear that there's quite a lot. It's a musical change, or it's a bit different. So that's of course also, yeah. I mean, but times change and people change, and so for me, I haven't been listening to Word Declension for many years, and actually, when we play live, we don't do any tracks from Word Declension because I mean, from what I remember, Word Declension turned out pretty good, but there were quite a lot of like internal problems within the band around that time, and also problems with the record label and blah blah, long story. So and even if what I remember, the album turned out pretty good in my opinion, but still the memories I have from that album and that era, that's like I only remember all the problems and all the issues. So for me, it's like really it belongs to the past, and that was something like, as I said, that was like Centinex Mark One. No, it's Centinex Mark Two or something.
Gotcha. So it just marks a trial era of the band. And when you guys did break up or take a pause in 2006, was there a time where you thought that the band wouldn't return?
Uh, I I mean yeah, I mean if I remember correctly, I didn't have any like plans to return with the band. I didn't plan anything that let's put this on ice for a few years and then start again. It just happened, and one of the reasons was that um, when when we put the band on pause in 2006. I mean, that kind of death metal we played back then was pretty like outdated. It wasn't really any popular style. I mean, this whole old school death metal revival, it hadn't. It wasn't popular with like old school death metal back in 2006. So, but during those years when the band was on pause, so to say, there was like like a constant interest from different record labels who made some re-releases of the old stuff, and then like the around, if I remember correctly, around 2010 2012, then this more of this old school style was a bit coming back, and the band got like we got like requests of playing live again and doing some special shows, and so there was like an interest in the band growing. Yeah, it was growing slowly, but it was at least growing, and also I was in a different. My personal life had changed, and I had like more time then for the band and everything. So then in 2000, basically end of 2013, early 14, then I made the decision that now it's time to start the band again and put it together again. But yeah, when a couple of years earlier, I didn't have those plans, so it came quite naturally, or like it wasn't any like tactical move to let's put the band on ice and then let's make a comeback a few years later. It just happened.
Gotcha. And musically, between the two eras of Centinex, how do you feel about the earlier albums in relation to where the band is today?
I think the like really early album, like our debut album from '92, and then we made some demos and promos around that time. So musically, I think Centinex from the early '90s is closer to what Centinex is today than, for example, compared to those albums which came like in 2000 and 2004 and 2006. So that's that's like one thing that for me it feels that in a way Centinex is more like back to the roots today than it was like 20 years ago. But of course, there is like musically, of course, there's a difference between the new album and our debut album. But one thing which I feel similar is like the atmosphere or the feeling in the band. It is more, it's more like it's everything is, we are like serious with what we do and everything, but still it's more of like an underground relaxed feeling in the band now. The same way it was as it was in the early 90s when we started the band. So, and that's of course a bit strange because we are all now like at least 30 years older than back then and everything. So, but still, the feeling in the band is good, and that's something which also like reflects in the music and everything.
Nice. And for the new album, which song are you excited most about performing live?
All of them, I think, because as it is a while since we released the previous album, and as I said, we have made quite a lot of shows, so we have been, in a way, you get a bit tired of playing those old songs, or older songs over and over again. So really looking forward to our plan is to do basically the whole new album, or at least have all the tracks rehearsed so we can do them live, because it's always nice to do some new fresh material live, and also because we are like very satisfied with the album, so we want to present them in a live environment.
Awesome. And my last question for you, is there anything else that you want to say or add about the new album?
Everyone should check it out, of course. No, but I mean, it sounds like a cliche, and I know that basically every band says it, that we do music for ourselves, and we want to satisfy ourselves with the music, and of course it's a bonus if someone else also thinks our music or the album is good. So so of course I hope that people will enjoy the album, and especially those who have been like following Centinex from the beginning. It's nice that if they can enjoy it, because as I said, I see similarities with this new album and really our old stuff. So, but let's see what happens with the album. So far, people have those who have heard it, they have enjoyed it, and they have said it's a bit different from what they thought, but still they seem really to like it. So that's good.